I've tried sobriety 5 times, and this is the longest that it's stuck, and it's a forever thing. And I failed at it a lot first.
Yeah.
And through that failure, it taught me and cemented my why. I hated how I felt, and I hated how out of control I felt. Something I didn't want to do, but having no sense of control over that. Then I threw myself into a bodybuilding comp. Yeah. WBFF and FMG are the only category that I think have it. It's transformation category where it's designed so that like if you're not quite ready to go into the big leagues, or if you've got a story where you're overcoming, and traditionally you do see people with these large weight loss numbers, you know, who've just given it this red hot crack. The depletion feels a lot like depression. I got so scared and just stressed because I had fought so hard to get myself out of this really shitty dark place.
She will hustle and hover over a crystal ball to find Mr. Right. So deep is her love that her atoms are not ignored. Riding a push bike with a cane basket is hard enough, let alone life itself. She's colourful, raw and real. You don't jump when you're ready, you jump when your legs are shaking. LOL to 69,000 steps. If you can't go to sleep, there's always Nikki's dumb ideas. She's taken it as far as it takes, steps that is, before possibly seeing a therapist. Sunrise are payoffs. It's clear she thrives with the stage to herself. Don't judge a book by its cover. Please help me welcome the woman that called me Picasso, Nikki Stocken.
Therapist.
I think you may need to see a therapist. Well, let's get straight into it, all right? Let's get straight into the heavy stuff.
All right.
The heavy stuff. You ready, Chris? This might involve you. Should men hip thrust?
Yes.
I'm on a mission now to know and find out what the world, and what the census is in doing this this exercise, and will it elevate me in the bedroom?
Oh, 100%. I agree with Philippa. I agree with Philippa.
You agree with Philippa?
More men should be hip thrusting.
Well, Chris, it starts today. We start hip thrusting.
Yeah, I mean, men are too focused on the upper body. You need like the legs and the glutes as well. Like, there's nothing better than a man with good buns.
Oh, that's true. You know, it's funny because in the 80s, a lot of men never focus on the bottom half of their body. So we called them pencil legs. Yeah. So if you had pencil legs, it meant you were really big up top, like massive, big shoulders, big chest, but no legs. Yeah. And I mean, no one thought about the ass because everything was a fat ass back then. I don't know what it was. Now fat ass is in, you know. And in the 90s, but I knew very early on about legs, so thankfully I grew some legs. But this ass thing, this hip thrust, look, come on now. I mean, you know, the debate can go on. It probably will go on forever. I'll probably ask every woman this hip thrust question, but it is zesty, that is for sure. And when we do it, I'm always hoping no one's watching.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit awkward, and gyms always have this setup that, like, you're thrusting
right
to the front door.
It's right in the middle of the gym. Everyone's walking. It's like a roundabout. It's the roundabout at the gym.
I watched a guy do, like, he was like a 70-year-old man, do, like, 6 sets of, like, 20 hip thrusts. He just sat on that machine for so long.
What the fuck was he sitting on that machine for? 70-year-old bloke.
Yeah. I mean, but good on him. Good on him.
Well, right,
he's probably trying to build a well-balanced physique as well. So
maybe he's trying to fix himself in the bedroom. Who knows? 70 years old. We'd hope so. Yeah. But I haven't realised when it comes to hip thrust, women dominate that area because some of the weights I see on there. Yeah. I mean, come on. I can barely just do that 5 kilo dumbbell.
Yeah.
No, it's incredible. It's really good. But yes, we'll look. It's there for good. But I can't promise you that's something I will do for
I just don't think if you ask any women, you're going to get any different of an answer.
Well, I know, but you know, I think sometimes everyone talks, you know, about the bedroom. Everyone talks about, you know, knowing it and the action and what they want. But I think sometimes when the lights go out, sometimes everything goes out. In other words, everybody's just rumbling. Yeah. It's a rumble in the jungle. But anyway, that's another story in itself. That's another podcast. 2, besides great glutes, what have I got here? Yeah, we already spoke about the bedroom. All right, let's segue into the hot topics then.
Okay.
Straight away into hot topics.
Go straight into it.
Aphrodite, the goddess of love, sex, and beauty, right? That's Aphrodite. Is said to have emerged from the white foam generated with the Titan crone. Excuse me about that. Aphrodite symbolizes doves, roses. She's obviously she's hypnotic, and her accompanying god is Eros, who's Cupid.
Okay.
So we've got Aphrodite, who's love, sex, and desires, and then we've got Mr. Eros himself. Is that like the yin and the yang in this world?
Love and sex.
Well, men and women.
Yeah.
Men have got this weapon, this arrow, ready to shoot it at your heart, and women are the desire in some ways. What I mean?
No, I think it's a balance between the masculine and the feminine.
We need it, don't we?
We do, and I think we need the masculine to be masculine and the feminine to be feminine, but also internally.
Yes.
We need to have that balance as well, and yeah, I think it's... I was listening to your podcast with Matthew Winnis on the way here.
Go ahead.
And yeah, when you were talking about the dating, and he was saying, I think men have lost this ability to be masculine and to take the lead and everything like that. And I think that's so true. I think it is so true. But I think in having a man that's masculine, he also needs the feminine in his life to have that safe space so he can step into that.
Let's go with this at the moment. Do you think, because I've got it in here somewhere, we'll find it later, but I know what I wanted to ask. Do you think that it's all confused right now? Like, I can't be anything but masculine. But what I've also realised, when I go the feminine, I get dumped every time. Yeah,
really?
Every time. I'm not saying I've had a million girlfriends, but I've seen no interest in me.
Yeah.
When I'm feminine, when I go soft, when I open up my emotions, I had to end the relationship because of that. Because I knew what was coming, because she was pushing that feminine side. Yeah. And I've gone back and tracked all my feminine moments, and all my feminine moments, they've just ended up saying, see you later to me. And I guess I had to realise that even in 22 years of marriage, that when I went to my feminine near the end of it, I was expendable. So I guess what I'm with this discussion together is, and me opening up right now about how I feel. No, it's that I don't think men and women can talk to each other. Hear me out. It's a good thing though, meaning guys will sit under a car hood and talk. Oh, my wife's or my girlfriend's not talking to me. Why, man? What did you do, bro? Or at the gym. And women will find their place. Together, men, women are great. And that we need them. Go see your girlfriend. Go see your friend. Go see your mum. Go see your dad. Go see your mate. Like, it's so important to send everyone off to their places, because it makes us better when we come back, because together, I don't think it can work, because we're opposite sex and we think differently. But until we realise how we are with each other and know we're different and be compassionate, understand he's masculine, he's fucked.
Hey guys, Steve here from Muscle Talks podcast. I just want to say a big thank you for everyone that's subscribed. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Why subscribe? It allows us to get a bigger reach, a bigger audience, and get those that love and have a massive love affair with bodybuilding onto this podcast. Some of the elites, we're talking to them now. We've had some of them already on. So please subscribe, and also hit the notification bell. Why? It notifies you when we've launched a new podcast, some great new content that you might be interested in. So we want you to get the very best from us. So please subscribe, notification bell, and let's get back to the podcast.
Well, I think it comes down to communication, doesn't it?
Yes.
And like that's how it works, is it's communicating to understand a lot of that. And I think that's where so many relationships go wrong. I mean, I know my last relationship, there's a lot more to it than just communication.
Yes,
but if you've got one party trying to communicate and the other not, then it's not going to work, is it? But I get what you're saying is that men and women don't understand each other, but they need each other.
100%. We need each other.
Yeah.
But it's when you're trying to take something away and also you're trying to bring something into them that will never, ever, ever. It doesn't have a piece to that puzzle. As much as you're trying to push that into a female or a male, both ways, it's not there. I'm not an expert here. Don't come to me and think or put all your chips on me and what I'm explaining. What I'm just trying to say is, a lot of people are looking to how to fix and feel sorry for someone. And I just don't go there. I want to know how to lift and work with someone. And that's, my mum used to say to me, I feel sorry for you, Steve. I said, I don't want that energy. You save it for my sisters. You save it for your daughters. You save it for others. With me, you just think he's going to do it. He's going to find it. Because even when you think of that, when I'm not around, when you're in your lounge room and I'm 10 miles away, that's the energy I want. So stop feeling sorry for me. And I think that's where we go. And I don't know, it's that energy around it. I don't know.
I think with what you're saying there is anytime that you show your feminine side to a woman that they leave or the relationship ends, I think you need to say thank you very much.
Yeah.
Because that's not the person that you want. Like if you can't have that duality within yourself with somebody, why do you want them? And I think
but it's sad because I want them.
It is, but like that's their work to do. That's not yours. So go and find somebody else who's willing to do it. And I mean, I say this, I've been single for 3 years, but it's also important because like, I've had a relationship that was a long-term relationship and it was hard and it almost completely destroyed me. But it has enabled me to go, okay, well, what won't I put up with and what am I looking for? Yeah. And it's like this quote that I heard that it's like, I still believe in like this big love and, this relationship because I know the way that I love. And like, as I said, if somebody turns around and, says to you that if you show a bit of softness, like, I'm out of here, fuck them.
Yeah, well, 100%. Well, it's kind of like that. And I that's why I'm saying, like, I love women's softness. I need it. I've realised the guys can't hug each other. Yeah. But when you get a hug from a female, it's a whole different.
I do get it though. Because like I sit in my masculine a lot because like, I'm very independent and I just go and get things done and everything like that. And I think it can be intimidating. And it's like when I worked at a bar, like this guy told me like, aren't you closing off the pool by being like having your standards up here? I'm like, that's the point, man. I don't want just anyone and anybody shouldn't just have me. It's like,
100%. Look, I think, like what do I know? I'm just kind of saying that you just have to know what you want to bring. Mm-hmm.
You have to know what you bring to the table and be okay with being on your own.
And stick with that. And I think there's also, last thing on this hot topic, is it's people think, oh, you just want something from me. But the thing is, teach me something. Teach me better manners. Teach me to talk better. Teach me to be confident in a room. Teach me you got my back. Teach me just a skill. Teach me to, I don't know, like I'm sorry, this is going to sound feminine, make a dish. I don't know. Or teach me how to hug. Teach me how to go for a power walk, a run. Better, whatever you want to share, the masculine and the feminine, but we all need to be offering a lesson somewhere because we're growing old, we leave. Yeah. You'd hate to be at 70 years old, 80 years old, and you're still telling, like, it's a one-way kind of direction in the relationship that, you're just constantly giving. We all want to receive something. I don't think it's receiving, like I said, it's not monetary. It's not. I don't think it's even points, and I don't think last thing. I don't think it should be reciprocation. Reciprocation is the shittest thing in life. That if I do something good will come to me. Just be good. Yeah. Don't worry what comes to you because I can promise you, I've done a lot of good, and trust me, I've had more bad. But I think it's just how it works. So, like I said, I think that we all just need to turn up ourselves and cross our fingers for the best.
That's all that we can do.
And put our hands over crystal balls there and hopefully that the right balls come our way from what I saw anyway. Recently, at the end of 2023, 2024, I noticed you started to track your walks. And may I say long ones and location tracks, and you put that, you display that. And I mean, how did you orchestrate the one that depicted the shape of a penis?
Oh, that was a run.
Yeah, I know, but when we looked at it, when it shows someone walking, it was the shape of a penis.
So it's a Strava map.
Shape of a penis.
So I'd seen there was during prep, one of my friends sent me this girl called Dick Claire Run, and she does all her runs in a dick shape, and it just popped up, and I was just like, well, maybe this is the next challenge. So I sat there and I looked at the map of my local area, and there was like one like that, and then I just saw this cul-de-sac that was just the perfect knob. And I was like, so that's it. Orchestrated. I was like, that's it. So
I love that. And all right, sticking with the steps, you did 100,000 steps in a day. 100,000.
100,000.
Yeah, it took me 21
that's the one I
hours.
said to when I said to you, she woke up in the morning. She goes, if you can't sleep, just one of Nikki's dumb ideas. I'm going to go and do 100,000 steps today. 100,000.
Yeah,
100,000 steps.
I had watched a couple of people do it on TikTok, but mostly there was a girl that trained, was one of the trainers at World Gym in Moore Park, and she had recently done it, and it popped up on my For You page, and then I woke up at like 11:11 that night, and I just was like, okay, like let's just get up and do it. Let's see if I can. So I started at I think midnight. Off like 2 hours sleep as well, mind you. So and then I just walked around. It took 21 hours, and I have to say that was so much easier than the 50.
Hours.
Yeah, it was so much easier than the 50k run because it's just walking. At the end of the day, like that's what I just told myself. It's just walking. So,
well, the sunrise obviously made you revigorated you to keep going, and also the fact that you got to 69,000 steps. I thought that was quite funny. Got to 69,000 steps, didn't you?
If you can't tell, I'm very immature.
Quite a little chuckle there.
Yeah. But no, it was actually, it was actually like, amazing. Like that first part, all I just wanted was a coffee, but nothing was open until 6 a.m. So.
Well, there is 7-Eleven, you know.
No, there wasn't because I was around like sort of the Gap. And there was nothing.
No,
there was nothing around there.
They're too rich.
Yeah. Well, there was one that was like just opening, and I was like desperate. I was like, please, and he's just like, no, sorry, 20 minutes. But I was just like, I can't wait 20 minutes.
You're then like a zombie.
Yes.
Saliva's coming down your throat. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know a guy who walked 70 hours straight for charity.
Wow.
70.
Down in Maroubra, just up and down, 70 hours.
Yeah, wow. So
70 hours, 24.
That's almost 3 days.
How did you just up and down the same spot? Like, I mean...
the same spot up and down.
Wow. So I went from Maroubra to, Potts Point and around Watson's Bay and all of there. Then Bondi to Coogee. I met up with a friend, did part of the walks with her. I did half of the steps in thongs as well, which was just so much more comfortable than trainers.
100%. Did it track the calories in that too?
I did. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't.
If you had to guess, guess.
Easily like 3,000 plus.
Wow.
I mean, in the 50k run, I did like 2.5, and that was only 5 hours.
Wow. So you could have eaten everything twice in that day.
Well,
and just stayed under your calorie count.
I was by the time that I finished, I was just so tired. It was like 10 p.m. But I did have like a pizza the night before, and like I actually before I left, I vomited the pizza because I'd only eaten it 4 hours before I started. So did
you do it purposely, or did it?
No, it just came up, and I was just like, all right, well, that's out the way.
I just want to know. Let's answer any question. Let's keep the running and steps craziness going. So you ran 5 half marathons.
Yeah.
When did you do that?
So the first one was just after the bodybuilding comp.
Just say the year, so we all know.
2023.
Listen to this, Chris.
Yeah.
We haven't even gone 1 year yet. 5 half marathons. Go ahead.
So
five half marathons, mate.
I had this urge to run, and I actually didn't have any trainers, so I went to.
Let's just make it clear: you are not a marathon runner.
No. The furthest that I'd ever run is like 12Ks, and that was in 2021, I think. And I didn't have any runners, but I had this urge to run. And so I went up to the Vinnies in Maroubra, so I found this $20 pair of Asics.
Vinnies is a real. I remember once I was riding home. I was riding home from the eastern suburbs on my motorcycle, and it was cold. I went, man, I'm cold. And then I go, Vinnies at Clavelli. up there, Clavelli. I said, "I'll get a jacket, $15 jacket or $10 jacket." It was perfect.
Oh, it's the best. I prefer Vinnie's over general stores. But
Mate, you find the one-offs.
Yeah, well, anyways, the first half marathon I did, I think I got to about 17 Ks, and then I saw where I was at, and I was like, well, we're pretty close, so let's just push it. And I did it in over 2 hours, and then 2 days later, I ran my first marathon. Because I was talking to somebody at work and he was doing the Sydney Marathon and he was like, you should just sign up, if you can do it. So in my head, I was like, okay, if I can run the marathon, I'll sign up. But then I decided not to because I could do it and I was like, save myself $200. I don't need to pay to prove it. So
wow, but 5 half marathons. And then you did one full marathon.
Yeah, I did one full marathon.
When was
that? That was the 2 days after my first half marathon, so 2023.
Wow.
So last year was a huge year.
What are you running away from?
I think at the time the running I was struggling to get back into the gym post-comp because I just found that it was I'd spent 6 months, 7 months so focused on what my body looked like that I forgot what it was like, what it could do. So the running was just a way for me to take focus off what I looked like and more so my own capabilities. So
like post-comp blues?
I don't know if it was post-comp blues. It was just after the show, I just couldn't stop eating. The binging was real.
I heard about that. Well, that's kind of post-comp blues.
Yeah. The post-comp blues didn't hit me for probably another 4 or 5 months, the actual post-comp blues of everything. But that's just because I was go and just kept sending it. And I think as well, from my sobriety, is that I was finding this new way to manage my emotions because I had spent a decade or longer just drinking and running away from these emotions, and these big feelings came up and I was like, well, I can't drink, I can't smoke it, I can't snort it, I can't do any of that. So what can I do to process this? And I have always said walking's cheaper than therapy.
Walking's cheaper than everything. Yeah. Walking's the best. No gym membership required. Great for therapy. I love walking. Walking is the key to everything for me as well. Hence, I was trying to go for a walk this morning, realising I left the rice on. I just can't believe. Honestly, I thought I'd go home and the smoke alarm would be going off and the place would be just smoke everywhere, right? Because I've burnt rice just having a shower. Let alone did I get in my car, drive a couple of Ks, stand in front of the cafe, talk to the baristas, get my coffee, start my walk, check my socials, and then went, fuck the rice. And I just started running, and I hardly run. And mind you, I didn't want to drink the coffee or throw it away.
Yeah.
I covered the lid so I don't spill it all over myself. And I'm running with my coffee. It's because I can't get rid of the coffee, man.
Oh, there'd be nothing worse if during that, you dropped your coffee. And burnt your rice. I know. We'll get to I know. And thankfully I had both and we made it. And I got to shave. Got my shave in too. Your bio says, get sober, stay weird. Mm-hmm. Sober since November 22. Mm-hmm. Something most people wouldn't know about me, I was a functioning alcoholic for almost a decade, until the drinking and depression got the better of me. And I slowly started not to function. In 2022, during relapse, I stopped brushing my teeth, cleaning, showering, brushing my hair. It all fell on top of each other and I barely held it together. Almost 18 months completely sober, aka raw, dogging life and no longer depressed. So before the 18 months, tell us that story and whatever you think you can share with us to understand how you lost control in a way and how you had to fight hard to gain that control back. And functioning alcoholic. What is a functioning alcoholic? I think a functioning alcoholic is most alcoholics. It's not the people that you see on the bench. And that was a big part of my sharing and why I got on stage, is just to talk about that. I think I said it in an Instagram post, and I think I've since hidden it just because there's a picture on there where I just look, it's one of my most shameful pictures because it was that moment that I looked at myself and I was like, what's happened here? And I just had that alcohol bloat and everything. And but in that post I said, I don't know what came first, the depression or the drinking. And I think when you get into drinking and drugs and addiction, there's always some element of mental health or some sort of running from it. So yeah, I think I had my first drink when I was quite young. I think it was like typical of it, like Aussies, is froth off my dad's beer.
Yeah, of course.
Then me and my friends raided my parents' fridge out the back, and yeah, we had a few drinks, and there was this feeling that I got from that I had never had, and it was like the weight was just off my shoulders, and it was suddenly like, I think I was like 14 or something, and suddenly I'm feeling this confidence and this freedom to be myself, and I think I just kept chasing that dragon. But yeah, I guess growing up in a small town, we didn't have much to do, so we just went to house parties, and drinking and binge drinking was just so normalised, and we all did it. But even looking back now, I think I tend to just take it too far. But anyways, then I started to do well in sports, and I was always good at sports and schools. Everything was good. And then...
Was that prior or even during?
During it. So, but like, I mean, high school wasn't that bad. It was just
But I guess it was just an element of understanding the social element of drinking. And I guess predominantly, even myself, I'm going to say it, that we laugh it off. Even watching my son, who's 18, get drunk and he's falling over my front lawn, I'm like, come on, Yanni, you'll be all right. Let's go. You'll sleep it off. But what do?
Well,
how do you act? How do you not go to... I keep wondering if DEFCON 5 or DEFCON 1 is the worst. I think DEFCON 1 is the worst. But having said that, yeah, how do you...
I think there has to be this acceptance that, you know, drugs and alcohol and cigarettes are going to happen. It is part of life, and the reason why we do all do it is because it's fun, it's social, it's this thing.
And sex.
Yeah, and yeah, we all do it. It's this pleasure, right?
It's an escape.
And I'm not saying like don't drink, don't smoke, don't do anything, but for me, I remember I was 23 and I moved to Sydney. And the first night that I was in this share house I drank a bottle of white wine, I drank a bottle of red, and I spray painted the bathroom with vomit. And I was so anxious about being in that house because they were such a close house. And I was like, what about the energy that I bring? So I just sat in my room and got pissed.
But the worst is even that, just the fact that what you did in the bathroom would have made you feel even worse, because now you've got to clean that up.
And you start this shame cycle, and, you know, but before that I was smoking weed heavily. So once I stopped smoking, I didn't have access to that. Then I started drinking, and then the circle that I was around, I just, you know, it was all a very normalised thing. It was party, and I think when you're in Sydney and you're in your early 20s, of course you're going to party a bit.
Whereabouts in Sydney did you live?
I was in Newtown at the time.
Yeah. I mean, I was born in Marrickville, and I've lived there as well. Later on, I moved a little bit further back, not far away, and I've always been around the area anyway, and I love New Zealand. But go on, yes. Yeah,
and I remember this housemate came into our house temporarily, and I sat there and I said to her, I was like, I don't think I'm drinking normally. I was like, I think I might have a problem here. And she was like, well, if you have a problem, we all have a problem. Like it's the same level of drinking, but I guess nobody knew what I was doing because it was just hidden. Anyways, that friend is now sober herself, and I met up with her during my 100,000 steps, and she flew here from England because she was at the funeral of her friend who was 30 years old and choked on his own vomit. He had his own drinking problem, and this is why the conversation's so important, is because it is normal, and there's people sitting around in this shame, and
a lot of I know someone else, I won't mention the name of celebrity, I know her mum, same thing, like they didn't find her for days later. It was the worst finding, to die alone in your room, and then they find you days later when it's really bad to find the person alone, and what happens to the corpse days later. I have to say, I had fears when I was living on my own because I kept choking on that pastry, and I was like, and I was drunk as well, but I had so many fears that that was just going to happen. But I shouldn't laugh about it, but if you don't laugh, you'll cry. Well, You know, we're looking for ratings. So if you start crying, I'll start crying. We'll all start crying. If Chris cries, we'll get like a lot of ratings.
But yeah, anyways, I think, the circle that I was in, it was just this normalized drinking. But I still hold so much shame around some of my behavior, because I think when you're on this short-term fix, you're not caring about the people around you. Like, you will steal from people. You will, like, I lied to my mum, man, about things, and that's a hard one to live with, is to go, actually, well, I lied to my mum during this, but we've had our conversations around it. But I don't think I ever realised that it was getting out of control, because it was this normal thing. But then
you said you were functioning.
Yeah, I was.
Somewhat.
Like, I held down jobs, I held friendships, I had a relationship.
Are you fat up or fed up? Tired of boring food? We just cooked this from our What Should I Eat cookbook. It's also on an ebook, making it more affordable for you. So,
get your copy at threeog.shop.
I was just taking it to the extreme every time, and all I was getting hit back was this like pushback of shame, of being like, well, you're embarrassing. And I just wish that somebody had gone, well, why? Why are you doing this? What's making you push it so far? Because, like, you know, had one of our friends at the time who was, I think it was like ice or crack or something. We'd just come back from an overseas holiday, walk into this house, and there's a crack pipe. And he went to rehab, ran away, came back, and I was like asking him, like, you know, why? What are you running from? And there was another friend who had got heavy into this ketamine addiction, and I was saying to my then partner, going like, you know, he's got a problem. But I think when people are having their own issues, they're not willing to face somebody else's, because it means they have to face their own.
But also, you guys, I mean, I guess it's your circle of friends that completely tells me who you are, or who we are.
Yeah.
I know that. I know it was cliche. I mean, my dad said it to me. It was before I read it in books and people talking about it. And it makes sense. Show me 5 of your friends and I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah.
And it's true. And as much as I try to guide my kids, it's hard, because there's an element of loving your friends. And how do you step in the way to make a son or daughter or a friend unlove a friend that they've connected emotionally, not just mentally, even through all the shit. So,
well, I think even like during my friendship with them, is like, even that relationship is, I don't think it was a relationship that was based in love. It was based in chemicals.
Yeah, but I think the chemicals, and I'll say something. I decided at one stage, when I was back in the dating scene, that I wasn't going to go out to dinner with anyone, because I realised that the perfume, the cologne, the aftershave, the dressing up, the makeup, the mood of the restaurant, the food, the alcohol, the dressing up, it was all a facade. You had to face them the next day if you slept with them. And that's when you really found out where you were and how you felt. So there was romance, there was love. Oh my God, this could be the person. There is an emotion, you're not thinking. But it's chemical.
Yeah.
It's chemical. It's not, so like I said to you, it's an escapism.
Yeah.
And yesterday, it was funny, because I've had a rough couple of months. Having said that, I really felt like alcohol yesterday. I'm not a recovering alcoholic at all. I'm not.
Most people aren't.
No, well, most people aren't. But I do like the escape as well. And I haven't drank to escape for over a year now. Like, I mean, I could, you know, every so often, because of training, I don't drink. You should see what it's like when you don't drink, what people treat you like. You're like a leper too. You go out and my 20s, I used to go out and they go, what do you want to drink? I said, just mineral water. And they go, oh, you're weak, man. You're this, you're that. You're not a real guy. You're not, like, it was that much pressure to drink. And I was really wanting a great body, and I really believed about the calories in everything. I could say, like I said, I've mentioned eating disorders, but when I went on holidays, I was, getting drunk, taking drugs, you name it. It was all happening. But the last year, when I decided no more, if not over, no more drinking with somebody, no more false romance, no more false emotions, just I walk my dogs at 10 o'clock in the morning on the beach. You want to come along? That's it. That was how I would meet people now. Yeah. But
well, that was something that I did during my prep. I did one of those not gonna lie question boxes, and somebody was like, "Oh, how do you take somebody on a date if they're sober?" And it's like, well, I think that's part of the problem is we all just instantly go to that, let's grab a drink because it's easy. Yeah. It's like, well, actually just put some thought into it, man. Go for a walk or grab a coffee. There's a million things that you can be doing that's not drinking.
100%. But then I think it allows you to get to know somebody, and I'll give you it's so much clearer because no fault of their own. I'm no better than anybody else. But I do know if we're walking on the sand and seeing, I like females. Yeah. I'll say, and she says to me, "Oh my God, I got sand on my feet." I went, "Well, I guess we're not going to get on." You know what I mean? At least I know that much, because I walk on the sand a lot with my dogs. Yeah. "Oh my God, your dog's wet in the water. I hope they don't come near me." I went, ew. Because I get it too. But you shouldn't have my dogs jump all over you. That's fair. But me and you're not going to like me because my dogs are going to sit on your lap in the car. They're not completely wet. Yeah. So in other words, it just allows really cool clarity to get to know someone because
it's authentic.
When they sit in the car and my dogs are sitting all over them wet, and you think, she's cool. This is pretty cool. Yeah. Sure and I'm sure I'm not cool. But this alcohol thing is...
It's I get why people do it because, most of us are nervous, right? We want to impress people. We want to be liked, and you can have that drink and you instantly relax and you become more likable. But I guess to say, when I lost control, it's I think the bigger question is, did I ever really have control?
100%.
And I don't think I did. So, there was people that I was hanging around, but I can't blame them for anything because I have sole responsibility of myself and my actions.
Yeah, of course.
I messaged my best friend in 2018 and I was just like, I think I actually have a serious problem here. And I was like, I think I need some help. And she was like, what can I do to help you? And it was just...
Can I ask, how do you know when you've reached that point? What I'm saying is it...
You just...
I got hooked on smoking at 45, 44, 45, when my marriage broke. I think I smoked my ex-wife's packet in one day. Yeah. I was a social smoker. Yeah. She'd smoke, I might light one up. Never felt it. For 10 years, I knew what it was like. And I went to roll this. I needed to smoke. Obviously, again, the car got the shits. Is that how it is? Is it a similar urge? Is it kind of like...
It's just a habit. It's
how does it grab you, though?
Because it's so you start coming home from work and you have a glass of wine, right? You're like, I'll just have a glass of wine to wind down. And it's like anything, the more you use it, the more you're going to need it. So I would start and tell myself, I'm just going to have one glass of wine. And then that glass turns into a bottle. And then eventually over time, that bottle's not enough. And you end up having 2 bottles and... It can get messy really quickly, and it's just not being aware of what you're actually doing. And towards the end of my drinking and in the real crumble of 2022, I just had these out of body experiences walking to a bottle shop.
And you would have been tested at that time with COVID shut, and they allowing these liquor shops to be open.
So that I wholeheartedly agree with it because people who have a serious alcohol dependency, it will kill them to stop.
Wow. Makes sense.
And the hospitals obviously we're hearing that they were overloaded and everything like that. You shut a liquor store, alcoholics.
Makes sense why they would have let it.
It's one of the only legal drug that if you stop and you're that acutely addicted to it, it will kill you. And it's, you know, as somebody who was drinking heavily through 2021, so I went through this long-term breakup, and I lived in a little shoebox that was like $500 a week in Potts Point. And then we went into lockdown, and I was working in politics, and I was just burnt out from that. And like, you know, it's like the crumble that happened for me wasn't just one instance. It was a series of things over a period of time. And, you know, I was working in a minister's office, and, you know, anybody who knows politicians they want it done yesterday,
right.
You know, when politics doesn't stop. And,
Yep.
you know, I was being told at work I wasn't good enough. I was being told at home I wasn't good enough because I was doing everything and nothing was right in that relationship. And after a while, it just beats you down, and, you know, you're just starting to believe it because, like, you're like, oh, well, these people are either paying me or telling me that they love me, so maybe they're right, is that I am a piece of shit. And so I left that in relationship, and then 2021 happened, and I just was drinking at home on my own and during the lockdown, and it was so sad. I look back and I just want to hug myself, you know,
I
and
understand totally.
so, yeah, then I moved out of Potts Point. I broke that lease early because I was like, it's the space that I'm in, like, it's too small. So then I moved to Dulwich Hill, and I had a bigger space, and you know, that old saying, wherever you go with you. Then me and that ex got back together for a little period of time, and we started drinking and doing drugs together, and we started fighting really quickly. And I was like, oh, it's the alcohol, because I was being told that it was me when I was pissed that was the problem. Like, and so I was like, I'm going to quit. So that was the second lockdown. So I quit, and I got to about, I think, like 7 months or something. And, you know, he was sitting there telling me that, you know, I'm boring without the alcohol, but it's like I'm too much with it. So, so I also fell into this, like, I fell into a nitrous oxide addiction during that second lockdown. So outwardly I was like sober, but I wasn't. I was like pounding boxes and cases of this nitrous oxide. And
What do you mean by that?
Whipped cream charges. Yeah. So I was getting cases, and it was like 500 in a case that I just sit there for hours, and I wasn't breathing air pretty much. Like, you know Steve-O from Jackass?
No,
Yeah, he went through it too.
So what is it? What do they do? What do you do?
Look,
You suck in the nitrous oxide?
So you suck in the air, and then, like, you kind of hallucinate a little bit. Like, everything goes a little bit tingly.
Wow.
And what I found through that was it's actually like your nervous system that's being hit, because at one point, like, I was so deep into it that, like, I almost lost the ability to feel my feet. And so walking was like this hard thing, and that was when I just went, holy shit, dude, like, you can't lose your ability to walk. And I was sitting on Reddit and reading these stories about this guy who completely was in a wheelchair because he was hooked
now
on
you're
it.
getting even more paranoid.
Yeah.
You're reading Reddit.
So, well, I was trying to educate myself of going, what's the addiction? Because I had this awareness of what I was doing.
Were you addicted to it?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
many people are addicted to that?
I don't know. So I actually did see a therapist during that time, and I told her, and she was like, she goes, oh, I've never heard this one, Nikki.
Wow, I've never heard this one
And
either.
yeah, I mean,
Nikki, God, you're out there. You're searching for
So-
search and destroy.
So this is why, as I said, is for me, I have to put this blanket and, you know, go, well, actually, I'm an alcoholic, I am an addict, because there's no ambiguity. I know myself.
How does it make you feel when you say those words?
Proud.
Proud, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
it's like, it's my sobriety is my proudest achievement, and that I hadn't spoke to anybody about this nitrous addiction. I think my mum, I told her, but
Are we the first?
yeah, obviously. So
Wow, and how many out there?
yeah,
No, but it's you know, my question is, do you think, because we're a bodybuilding podcast too, do you think there's bodybuilders out there going through this? And the fact is, the sport is the yang, or somehow, like, because you said you're functioning.
yeah.
Do you reckon we have it in the industry too, some functioning bodybuilders? Because that's calories in, calories out. You can play with it as you like.
I don't think so much in like in
I'm not saying like
competitive-
50-50 or
I don't think
70-80, but do you think that there's possibly some struggles out there because of...
Yeah. I don't think in the competitive bodybuilding world, obviously, especially in the on-season, there it wouldn't be. But I think there would be people who had the same why for getting into it.
Yeah.
And, you know, Asha said that to me during my prep. She said, addicts make some of the best athletes. is because they switch it
Oh,
over.
wow.
And and it's just things that I've found out about myself is like, it's okay, well, if I can destroy myself, how can I create myself? And it's like, how far can I push it? And like, you know, it's...
So in a way, God loved bodybuilding in some ways.
Yeah.
Because it's a fucking disciplined sport, more than you'd ever believe, and there's no finish line to it.
Well,
see, that's the thing. Bodybuilding doesn't have a finish line.
It doesn't end, and you know the comp prep was.
I thought it did have an end.
Really?
55 years late, like 50, 55 now. Like I think to myself, wow, we're still going. And what did I learn? Oh my God, I learned something from this person. Like it's just never ending.
It's continuous. It is continuous, and I think that's the beauty about it is that it doesn't end, and you can just keep going. And I think even with competitive bodybuilding, it's the one sport that like you don't tap out in your 20s.
No.
Like you can keep going into your 30s and 40s and 50s, and you can still be getting on stage at that time. And I think, you know, it's so many like NRL, netball, dancing, swimming, all of it, you do have that sort of age cap, whereas this you don't.
Soccer, any sport. I remember saying to my son when he was 13, I said, Jan, his name is Yanni. I said, Jan, if you're looking to do sport and it to be your career, I'd be looking at it seriously right now, bro. Like I'd be focusing now. If you're not at the park on your own for hours on end, kicking some kind of ball or doing something. Yeah. I just want to tell you now. That's what I was telling you. I'm just giving you a heads up. I never got the heads up.
Yeah.
I think when I wanted to be, let's say you thought about being a professional athlete, it was like when I was 28, 29, I go, oh, fuck, I could have, I was not a bad soccer player. I could have done something if I applied myself. But it's, no one tells anybody you're at this age.
No.
But funny enough, I also realise, because I'm 55, I know Chris is 23. I kind of get it. I was 23. I kind of get to 25-year-olds. I get when you turn 30. My dad or older men don't come up to us and say, bro, I know you're 55. He could be 80. I know how you feel. They don't. Everyone just is oblivious.
Everybody's so caught up in their own world, and it just like, it bothers me so much because I think there's this whole thing is like, it just a simple bit of encouragement can change people's heads. And, you know, when I did a park run, there was this little 8-9-year-old and he overtook me because I went out too hard, too fast. And anyways, I saw him walking. I said, come on, buddy, like we're so close. It's like a K to go. And anyways, he ends up smoking me. And it's things like that, you know, we all just need that little bit of encouragement, and we need somebody in our corner who's going, hey mate, like you can do this. Like,
no, I'm with you. So obviously your family was rich history in addiction and mental health issues. I sometimes think that can be a hindrance and also a positive in a way. It's taught me a lot about growing up. My family was, I'll say they're amazing. I mean, you know, growing up, man, I got beaten up for everything, screamed at for everything. It makes me realise how useless that was and unfair that was. But the great thing is it kind of allows me to realise even me being attentive to my children doesn't score me points because they dislike me even when I'm nice, where my dad was sometimes a prick and I loved him. So I can't work out what discipline or where it actually lies and what's a positive and what's a negative.
I think I think you've got to do the best that you can, and that's all that we do. And you've got to give your kids the freedom to make mistakes, and it's something I appreciate about my mum so much. Is she just gave me this freedom to fuck up and and you know allow me to learn from that. But I think she also knows that I'm very strong-headed, and that if she told me no, I was going to do it anyways. But
I think sometimes when we look at the past and we try to change the past or change our parents or change.
So
but I realised, because I have this thing when I hear girls go, I love my dad. And I went, tell me why. Because I've got a daughter. I want to know why, because I'm hoping my daughter says, I love my dad. And I don't think I'm there. I'll be honest with you. I don't think we're there.
Of course she loves you. It's just whether she says it.
There's reasons around that. I'm not here to talk about my story, but what I'm trying to say is, because when I ask, I said, what was your dad like? And they go, oh, he was a hard ass. Okay, explain hard ass. And when they tell me some of the disciplines the females got from their dads, nothing brutal, I'm not trying to say any. I think, man, my daughter gets pissed off on the slightest thing, but I know it's usually accentuated, made bigger by the immaturity of us adults.
Yeah.
Like, what I'm trying to say is, when my kids, one thing I couldn't do, even though my mum and dad will fight like cat and mouse, if I go to my mum, my dad's an idiot. She goes, don't ever talk about your father like that. And then I go to my dad, my mum is like, don't ever talk about your mother like that. But today, because my ex will just go, yeah, your dad's an idiot. And you go like, that really helps. That helps.
Yeah.
And then my kids, but I never say that about them. I'm not acting like I'm this great guy. I know already what she's like. But what I'm trying to say is I don't sit there with my kids finding points to bring down their mum. I will say to my son, what did mum make you for lunch? And I go, oh, that's great. Oh, wow, she went, like all these, I just think people just fuck up things.
Oh, we all fuck up, and
For each other though, like meaning not even innocently, we just seem to want to break a relationship with people, and which is unfortunate. Well, that's how I feel anyway.
I don't think it's intentional, and I through like this whole healing process that I went through last year, is obviously I was pissed off. We've all got shit that happens in our life, right? And I was pissed off at my parents. I was pissed off at my friends, and then I read this quote that just completely changed my perspective on absolutely everything. It says, "Be nice to your parents. It's their first time being alive too."
Fucking oath.
And I think we all forget that.
If you don't mind me asking, are you the oldest or youngest?
Youngest.
All right. So who's the oldest?
My brother.
How old?
36.
I'm going to let you know your parents don't know how to parent a 37-year-old yet.
Yeah. Well, and I had this conversation with my niece yesterday.
Like your parents don't know how to parent a 24-year-old or 25-year-old yet.
I'm joking.
But you will show them.
Yeah.
Everyone shows.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's what happens.
Well, I think it's hearing that quote in my head was just, it changed, as I said, this perspective where I've just gone, holy crap, actually, we're all just humans and we're all just doing the best that we can, and, we're all going to fuck up, and it's how you come back from that fuck up. And but that it allows space for forgiveness and for compassion, and to go, actually, well, yeah, I mean, I'm not a parent, but the day that I do become a parent, I'm going to find out exactly what my mum went through. And
But you find out a lot of things. You also find out a lot. You find out a lot of things. If you find out the good, the bad, you got it's the best thing though. Like I keep saying it. Like when my daughter was born, I lost the capability of breathing when I see her, and still she's 21, and I still lose my breath every time I see her. That breath has never changed. Like I just love her to death. But anyway, that's another story. So what are you doing now? What did you want to be? Oh yeah, like I think you're saying here, raised by a single mum, your dad died when you were 20, sorry to hear that, and it shaped your life views. I don't want to, I think we've really covered a lot of things here. What are you doing with yourself now? What's your career?
I'm working in a bar. So I'm a recovering alcoholic that works in a bar. And it's great. It's great.
Do you judge people?
No, I try not to.
Yeah, trying is, I understand you have to try.
I think there's this...
But we all judge.
I hold an element of compassion to it just because I've been in their shoes, and I was working at Kikac.
Do you try not to cancel?
No, I won't ever push my sobriety onto anybody. I'm not here to stand on a soapbox. So I worked at Kikac Hotel for a while, and I met so many people there that were very curious about their sobriety because it came up in conversation. I watched a man get sober himself, and he just stopped drinking. I was like, hey boss, like you stopped drinking? And he was like, yeah, I've just given up the booze, and once I opened up, he opened up, and we just shared stories about the lengths that you go to. But then like working in the bar is, I watch so many versions of myself in there, of my past self.
Oh, there's Nikki. Oh, there's Nikki.
Well, it's like, there was a girl that was, pissed, and, she's like had too much to drink and just dancing around. It's like a Thursday night at like 7 p.m, bar's dead, and like she's dancing around like she's having the best time. And that was me, like just pretending I was having this great time, but really I was just like dying inside. And and it shows me just this life that I don't want for myself. And I find it the most empowering thing. And like, there's a couple of times where, there was like one time where I was pouring alcohol and I was like, but then I was like, no, like, because you play the tape forward, right? I've tried.
You have to play it forward.
I've tried sobriety 5 times, and this is the longest that it's stuck, and it's a forever thing. And I know, I know where it ends up, right?
Well, I've got a question. Not many people get questions, but I have a person ask a question from overseas on TikTok.
Okay.
He's called the Online Coach and Massage.
Okay.
I think he's from Norway. I don't know where he's from exactly. Really nice guy, follows us a bit, always supportive. He said, can you ask her, how did you overcome addiction? And what does she do to keep going forward and stay sober?
That's a really great question.
Yeah.
I failed at it a lot first.
Yeah.
And through that failure, it taught me and cemented my why. You can only let yourself down so many times before, you have to go one way or the other.
What was your why?
My why was just because I hated how I felt and I hated how out of control I felt. As I said, I was walking down to a bottle shop at one point, just an out-of-body experience, watching myself desperately do something I didn't want to do, but having no sense of control over that. And it was sad. And then I threw myself into a bodybuilding comp.
Yes, you did. And that was going forward. And is that keeping you sober? Are you doing another comp?
Yeah, I will. I won't compete again until next year, just to give me time to build a competitive physique, and I respect the process a little bit too much.
Let's just ask that question. Have you competed before?
Not before my show last year.
No bodybuilding comps?
No.
That was the first and only. So.
Yeah, so I'd watched people do the transformation category online, and I watched Asha prep a girl, Natalie, who went on and won. I watched this other girl, Nicole, who she goes by Red's Journey on Instagram. And
well, I've got it here. Let me split read what you've got here. So we'll go with that. But also, before we go. So staying sober, competitions.
So you've got in order, I think, to stay sober and to overcome an addiction, you've got to find something that you love more than the addiction itself. But you do also have to be...
pump.
You do also just have to be really honest with yourself. And that's what it took for me, is to look in the mirror and go to myself, well, I am overweight, I am depressed, I am an alcoholic, I am this. You have to get honest, and that's how your life changes, because we all don't want to sit with uncomfortable conversations with other people, let alone with ourselves. And you can just create such a better life when you're willing to get honest. And it sucks. It does suck and it hurts, but it sucks more to stay where you are and doing what you're doing.
How do you do when you become honest and people fall away?
Well, there's the door.
Do you? Of course, but
so
most do fall. I feel when you're honest, because if you've lived a life of this facade and relative lies, those are kind of what's around you, and that's what they want from you. That's what they want to get from you. What happens when you become truth, and it becomes that you're finding out those that were with you aren't with you now?
So the right people will stay.
Okay.
The wrong people are the wrong people. I lost friends, or not. Relationships changed, but they were drinking buddies. They were drug buddies. They weren't people that, if shit was hitting the fan, I was calling them and they were able to help me out. They were people that were, okay, you feel like a drink, and you'd end up out until 3 a.m.
It's a shit place.
Yeah, and so when people took the change in me, it was a shock, right? And I think nobody thought that I'd actually see it through just because I'd failed so much. When you stop believing in yourself, other people around you are going to stop believing in you too. So then I finally stuck through it, and it's been this beautiful turn of events that, people are now coming to me going, hey man, actually I've got a problem. Or I had a friend, I told her about this app called Try Dry January, and she sent me a screenshot and she's like, look, it's no 15 months, but it is a month. And I was like, but it all starts in one day, a month. And
I'm going to ask you though, do you feel the pressure, and also, because you are quite new to this, right? You're new to sober, right? Functioning. Do you feel sometimes when they come to you for advice, are you the expert?
No.
That's what is it? Because I know sometimes also in relationships, that's all they want you for, because they think you're the expert, or they think that you can fix their lives. Do you ever find that a struggle? Because that can also depress someone if that's all you are, the person that they come to for help.
Well, because I know I'm not. I know
Okay.
I'm not that person, and these are friends that I've had for years that are coming to me, and I know
That's
that
right.
relationship.
Oh, we're friends from years and they're there still,
Yeah.
yeah. But you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I seem to find strangers wanting to tell me their life problems, and I say to them, you've got the wrong guy. I'm so sorry. Because I've experienced too much in my life helping people, helping strangers, that I've actually, sorry about that. How do I
Press the side button.
That's it. Sorry. Yeah, no, there we go. Let's put it there so it doesn't vibrate. It's John Lang from the church. He's 90 years old. He's the only one that rings me and wants to find out how I'm going. Shout out to John Lang, 90 years old.
So, just to answer that, it's like I'm willing to help people as much as I can, but there's boundaries, right?
That's what I'm saying.
It's knowing the boundaries behind it. Like, I had a friend
to.
who called me in tears, and she was like, I know I have a problem. She was like, tell me to stop. And I said, I can't tell you to stop, because I said, you're going to keep going. And I said, you just have to keep going until you don't want to do it. Like, and I think that's so much about what I try to talk about online and through the sharing, is that the power lies within you. Nobody's coming to save you, or nobody's able to change your life other than you. And it was something that I learned through the bodybuilding prep, is I thought it was just going to be this external change, and it changed something so deeply. And I was just like, it's so easy to blame other people, and it's so easy to blame circumstances, and to have all these excuses in the sun to go, well, it's my job, it's my partner, it's this.
I keep blaming myself.
And then and then
thinking how many people are blaming at the moment.
But like, then you wake up one day and you're miserable. And you're like, whoa, actually, I hate my job. I hate where I'm at. And you're like, well, actually, it was none of those guys' fault. It was your own.
So, besides working at a bar, what did you do before that?
I was an executive assistant.
Is that your role, the kind of what you did?
So yeah, it's what I did. I did reception for a long time, and then when I worked in politics, I became the minister's EA, and then I floated around in government and not-for-profit sectors. And
what did you want to be when you were growing up, when you were a kid?
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a teacher.
You wanted to be a teacher?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm glad. So the idea of doing bodybuilding show came to you in 2021. You've been following Natalie, who Ash prepped for Transformations, and who won as well. The Red's Journey, Nicole, the Red's Journey, something like that. Who did the transformation category as well. Sparkly bikinis, and watching their journey planted a seed. When I decided to get sober and fully committed to it after 5 years of trying, you tried out actually at netball. You were good at netball.
Yeah. So
She's a netball champ too.
When I was younger, I always excelled in sports. Health
you
sports.
were a runner as well.
I wasn't really a runner. I just did athletics.
You like me, still like. No, you said something about.
So I did athletics and cross country and swimming and all the school sports, and I always did quite well.
So
in
you're good at sports.
Yeah. So it's always athletic, and netball. So I made the indoor netball New South Wales team, and I played up in the national comp for that. Then I made Illawarra Academy of Sport for netball.
Yeah, she's up there. You know what I mean? This is not.
Well, the issue is that
and you've got the height, I've noticed too.
Yeah, so it's defence.
And you've got the build, because you're a strong looking woman. Meaning you've got like you look like a netballer too. You look like a netballer now that I think about it, or even a basketballer, possibly.
No, I was never good at basketball.
Okay.
But netball. So I made those squads. Indoor New South Wales, I loved it. I love indoor, and I loved playing mixed netball just because I like men don't hold back, and it really tests you because like men can jump, and women can just be really bitchy on the field. Whereas men it's a game, it's done, and that's how I play. Is what happens on the court happens on the court. Yeah. Leave it off there. Yeah. But then I turned 18 and I went into partying. I didn't have the discipline to stick with it, and I don't think I had somebody around me really going like, hey, stick with it, see where you can go. And
well, like I said to you when I said to my son, but it's hard.
It is.
Even to have someone tell you, like, I just know it, being a parent. And the only reason it's hard, and I guess why it was hard for you, and you correct me if I'm wrong, so I apologise in advance, It's very hard for a single mum to do it on her own. Had your dad been around? Because it takes two people. It is parenting is a two-person job. Everyone can sit there and say, I'm a single dad, I'm a single mum. But if you're not united, that's called cracks.
So my dad was around until I was about 12.
Yeah.
But he was a truck driver, so and then they separated, and but I think the teenage years are probably where your kid needs a lot of support.
But the thing is, like I said to you, you need to be able, even like I said, separated, divorced parents. Just remember you're a fucking parent, and your job is not to bring the other one down.
Put your own shit aside.
Yeah,
for the sake of your kids.
just work together to get your kids to be better than you, to earn more than you, to excel in everything. Like everything. We're talking about everything. We're talking about mannerisms and the way you conduct yourself in front of people, to your per annum, your daughter as well. Get them to all excel. Like, it's not so much just pushing them in an area where it's career-wise. We're talking about everything. It's emotions as well.
It's teaching him to excel. It's just teaching him to be a good person. And that if you try something and you fail, don't quit. I think that's the more important part. Like, yes, like if you want your, if the kid has talent.
I think excel, maybe you're misinterpreting what I mean by excel. I said to you, excel in communication, excel in understanding your emotions, excel in moving on. I never mentioned my daughter's in performing arts. Yeah. I mean, when I tell people, they go, "Oh, Ruby, what's she doing?" I go, "No, she's studying." And they go, "Oh, well, what's she studying?" I go, "Performing arts." They go, "Oh, that's nice." But if I said she's a lawyer, they go, "Oh, a lawyer? Oh my God, wow, I cannot believe it." So you can see the world, what it's like. So I have to also say but do you know, like my daughter's studying performing arts, it's a 97% unemployment rate. So in other words, it's 3% fighting for your job every week. We're talking about
a lot of grit.
She's a fucking businesswoman. That's why I said to her, you're a brand. Unless you work out you're a brand, because I work for myself too. So my money only comes when I go get it. So in other words, that's what I'm trying to say. It's excelling that mindset to say, stick to it. Yeah. It's tough. Yeah. 97% unemployment rate. 3%. I'm going to say something funny quickly. The Penguins of Madagascar, I'm sure you haven't watched that movie because it's a kid movie, right? But there's a bit where the penguins are tired of lining up with penguins on the icebergs. So one of them decides to not be in the line, and three of them slid onto a iceberg that was floating out into the ocean, right? Floating out into the ocean. And to get to that iceberg, there were sea lions and all that, but these penguins, and one of them was called Skipper. And he goes, and he turns to Kowalski. He goes, "Kowalski, status report." He goes, 99% certain, like, kind of death. Yeah. I forgot the word. And he goes, eh? He goes, and 1%, the adventure of a lifetime. He goes, I like the sound of that. So I said, I've gone like, what's the percentage? And I've always been, what, 1%, 10%? We've got something there. We'll work with it. And I guess what I'm trying to, like I said, I don't know. I think, I don't know, but I think is there such a word as pessimism?
Yeah.
I think it's bigger in the world than optimism, and optimism is looked upon as egotistical, is looked upon as that you're better than somebody else. It's an approach that I've watched and learnt. It's definitely like Skipper. It's 1% of the world kind of thing in a way. But once you realise in the world of who you want to be, and once you realise it's just you, and if you can love yourself in it, we're on the right road. And I think that's what's important. Teaching, like I said, I'm kind of trying to find my way back into it, but there was a saying, one more saying and then we'll get a biblical term. I don't know if you've heard of a biblical term. It says, fill your cup over and then fill others. Let's say you want to be charitable with money, but if you're cup of money is half full, where are you going to find it?
Got nothing.
But when your money is flowing over, we'll call it money anyway, your money is flowing over, it is wrong for you not to help people, even strangers. It's flowing. It's overflowing. Hand it over. But if you...
That's not the world that we live in.
No, but that's right. But when your cup is half and you're trying to pull out that money, you're actually digging a deeper hole. So also, but it comes with love. How can you love someone? How can your cup overflow with love if you're not loving yourself?
Yeah.
You think you're kidding yourself. Everyone's kidding themselves. And I guess...
I don't even know if it's that you have to love yourself. You have to like yourself.
Look, there's...
But I mean, everybody has a different view of that. Mine is, I think you just have to like yourself because you have to be able to tolerate yourself. And through liking yourself, you can love yourself. And, you know, it's having compassion in that. But
I don't know. I mean, I see your point. I don't want to take away anyone's point. But I think that you're looking for love. You gotta.
But I want to like them more than...
No, of course. But like becomes love.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I guess it's the same thing, really.
Yeah.
If you got to like yourself, you'll end up loving yourself, and then once. But imagine just.
I think I just say that because I think this whole like self-love thing is that like it's rooted in, you know, this face masks, nails, and all this really external stuff. So that's why I say like. Is
but
because...
but the thing is, no, I hear you. But the thing is, it's not. That's what I'm saying to you, that it's filling your cup up. It is. I know where you're going. I know what you meant by that. I mean, I watch people go, look, to empower yourself, you just got to love yourself. And when I look at the amount of, I'm sorry to say it in a way, the amount of Botox and the amount of lip fills and the face is not really your own anymore, but you're telling people to empower themselves. I get it. You've found it. All right, go and do all that stuff. I also get it when people want to go get certain things, treatments done. I'm cool with that. You should get everything done. But to sit there as a poster person, don't. Just be humble, be calm, and find something else that can bring the best out of people. What I mean is, a great body in bodybuilding, the only time you realise how much it's worth is 3.5 decades of it. Because in that 3.5 decades, you become fat, you become lazy, and you don't want to go to the gym, and you realise exactly why you did what you did when you turned 30, what you did for your...
Well, that's what kind of keeps me going with this, is that it's... If I stop, do I go back to square one? And that's like, you know, I lost I lost a lot of weight for that comp prep. Like, I was 35 kilos in 27 weeks.
I heard that,
hard.
you also lost 40 kilos in 7 months.
No, so when I first had that call with Asher, it was like, can we do 40 kilos by the time July comes around?
Yes.
And then, I didn't get that last 5 kilos, which was just devastating. But, you know, it is what it is.
But I think you're on the right journey, because bodybuilding doesn't end. It's just a sport that at 60, 70, 80, and there's things that are going to come up. It's not just, I promise you, it's not even the stage. Coming of age to certain places, turning up to something special, a holiday. There's nothing nicer than hitting it at point. Like, so how many summers we've all gone through? How many summers you go, I fucking can't wear my bikini this summer.
Yeah.
And is that ego? Just wear your bikini. Who gives a shit? No, I don't give a shit. I care because I don't feel good. I lie on my towel and I got this muffin I'm looking at, and it just hits my brain. I'm sorry, it just hits my brain. But when you get summer right, and you're not going to get summer right all the time. That's the thing. I'm telling you, you're not going to get summer right all the time, and being so strict all the time. But when you've gone like...
It's about having that goal and achieving the goal.
That's
right.
So I know to have a beach body, let's say this summer coming, to have a beach body. Well, I've started. And look where we are. We're in April. But I've also realised I can't be losing any more weight. Now I need to be gaining some weight, and I need to get some momentum and start forming. I haven't found summer since I turned 50, 51. I've been off summer for 52, 53, 54, and I'm coming into summer on 55. So it just goes to show you bodybuilding, as much as I know, I've missed the mark again. Why? Same thing. Eat that cake, have that alcohol, get drunk, don't care, go on dates.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's like you've got to have this balance between it, because like, you know, there's bodybuilders out there and heaps of people that I see online that are, you know, promote that balance and going, okay, well, I can go out and I can have a drink and I can enjoy, but when the time comes, like you get to work. And
look, you get to work, but the thing is, look, I'm saying, what I'm trying to say is enjoy the process.
Yeah,
You've just entered it, and it is, I love it.
Well, that's
decades later, it's not a season. Sorry, it's not a season. We can all look amazing in a season. We can all look amazing at a comp. What I'm saying is, it is an amazing thing to realize, working backwards, 1st of December is the first day of summer. Okay, around July, August, I've got to start. This is where everything changes. Yeah. So you've just eaten your last Zinger burger, getting into it. Not that you're not going to have but then you're going from not as many Zinger burgers to minimizing the Zinger burger and then when you reach the 1st of December, guess what? You can have a Zinger burger once a week because you've entered the room now. You don't have to, meaning now you actually find the holding pattern. So now you've flown to your destination, and instead of completely landing, you're going to hold the holding pattern. And that's where you, because of all the discipline you did, say, to lose 20 kilos, is now saying, well, now I know it's summertime. There's, in your case, a little bit different, I'm saying, with alcohol. But there's places I can turn up to where I can, oh my God, this is a beautiful smorgasbord you've put together. And you know you're not bringing Tupperware containers anymore. Because you can't keep going Tupperware container. You can't go through summer. Like, you can go up till summer with Tupperware containers, but you just can't do Tupperware containers. Now you're in, so in other words, that's the great thing about bodybuilding in seasons and learning about seasons is there's a point of turning up and holding pattern. And that's when sometimes after summer, you kind of, not lose focus. You're always at the gym. It's an amazing sport. I love the sport. Yeah. I love the sport.
Well, it's like, I said to Asha, I think I was only 8-9 weeks into the prep, and I was like, I'm going to do this again. And she's like, you haven't even gotten on stage. And I was like, I just love the process. And even after I got off the stage, I said to some of the girls at the photo shoot the next day, I was like, I think I enjoyed the journey up to it more than I enjoyed the there, because there was so much, it was so much longer and there was so much more to enjoy getting there. It's
kind of a blink of an eye, and you looked amazing. I'm just going to tell you now, you looked amazing. I saw your photos, and I'm going to get into some of the photos. I think JFit took some of the photos. Yeah. You went to the crypto house.
I did, yeah. That was the day before show.
Yeah. I saw all the shots. I mean, pretty hot, very nice photos. I must say, well done. You looked amazing.
Thank you.
What's the secret to losing 35 kilos in 27 weeks?
Stick to the plan.
What was the plan?
Whatever Asha gave me. It was a lot of mince and rice and stair climber, but...
Did you... It was tough? It was tough, eh?
Yeah.
It's amazing once they show you how much you got to eat. You go like, is that it?
And
then once you get to it, and once you've had it for a while, you go, oh, I don't know how I ate so much before.
So, yeah, it was eye-opening in that way. But I think towards the end, and this is why I say about that 5 kilos and not getting where I wanted to, but the depletion feels a lot like depression. And I had fought my way because you've got no energy, your brain cells aren't there, you can't get out of bed, and I got so scared and just stressed because I had fought so hard to get myself out of this really shitty dark place that I just started stressing and but I'm still proud of myself, and I just think there's so much improvement, and now I know more about the sport and what to expect.
So jumping in the deep end and pushing yourself so you don't go back, because that's what you're doing. So entering WBFF, I think it was it was this time in Sydney. I remember Chris and I looked at it, and the night before I said, this looks like a party. Yeah. The night before parties?
Yeah, Rego night.
Oh my God, everyone's dressed up to the nines. And how did you feel around, let's say a lot of people have built themselves up to compete. And let me say how I look at that with the person I think is heading towards there. That's a person that has been predominantly eating healthy, predominantly active in their life. This is what I'm thinking. Predominantly following all the bodybuilding networks, and in an element of loving themselves but into their bodies a lot, like myself, I guess, and they hit the switch to turn up to an event, and inside that event they've got the networks already because they've been following the latest person and that person and this person, and understanding what WBFF stands for, and understanding what A and B is and IFBB. Like, they're choosing their comp.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you turned up to all those people? Did you feel at home?
I felt very accepted. And I think, it was empowering. And I think if any time before that, I would have walked into those rooms and not felt comfortable. But I think going into it blind and not knowing who people were and that sort of stuff helped me.
And you did the hard work, I guess.
Well, yeah, and it just kind of helped me. And I think the real turning point for me was, Maheen was my Maheen Buddha. She's now got International Posing Academy. She was my posing coach. And I just lent on her a lot. And her and Letitia Lockhart ran this workshop. And then she gave me all this feedback from people around her being like, she's got something in her, like this kid's going to go far. And hearing that just changed my thoughts and going, okay, well, we're doing good. But I lent on Maheen a lot in a lot of those social, like even Rego night, like I felt so lost without her. I was like, where are you? Just because I didn't really know people. And networking wasn't really my strength. But yeah, you just find the people. And then, backstage it was with one of the girls in our team as well. So, yeah.
Do you, and I think I'm going to have to rethink what I think. And I'm glad I can now. Because sometimes I feel that a lot of people do it for the gram. So there's a fine line, probably three. The competitor, working for it. It's not about the gram, but it's definitely a reward for all the hard work. And then it's for the gram, because genetically you got a great body, or genetically everyone's been impressed, or genetically you like to become an influencer and want to go on stage, and that's the easiest place because you can't go on a pageant, because in a pageant they're going to tell you, I'm sorry, you don't match, Miss Picton. You're not matching what we want for Miss Mullumbimby.
Yeah.
Right, for Australia. But then again, Miss Spain or Miss Australia, all these things. What advice would you give to someone that needs it? Like, what is it that you think you could, like, that's what I'm saying. I'm changing my view now. Because I'm changing my view because I thought you had to be someone or something to be on stage.
Yeah.
And I don't think I have that.
Yeah.
And I want to know, when someone's sitting here or watching this, listening and thinking, I don't know if I can do it, and that looks scary, but there's something about it being elevating and freeing in some ways. That's what I'm saying is,
don't think about it, just do it.
Just do it, eh?
Yeah.
Like, fuck
because
it. Because there are all these figures and all these bodybuilders and all this muscle and all this.
But the only way that you're going to know whether or not you stack up against that, or whether it's for you, is by trying it. And it's this fear of not trying that stops people. And, it's something
But why bodybuilding? Why have to do that show? That's what I'm saying is, people can, just the triathlons you did and running. But like, you entered a room. Maybe you thought you were at home and I'm supposed to be here.
No, I think...
Can everyone move, please?
No, I think I had just blind confidence in myself.
Good,
and as I said, like, I went into that...
So blind confidence is good.
Yeah, and I think I went into it, as I said, I had no scope of who anybody was. When I saw people, I didn't know who was the professional and who was the amateur. All I was just focused on doing what I needed to do. And, great quote that I heard, and it applies for everything, is when you're in your own lane, there is no traffic. And, you know, if you want to do something, just do it. Like...
Well, you said here, stage pics are in. It's clear. I thrive with the stage to myself. Can't wait to do it again, but better.
Yeah, so the transformation category, you get the whole stage to yourself. And yeah, Maheen and I just built this beautiful routine for it. But then I had this evening wear dress, and I don't think anybody's done it, but I just decided to just send it, and I had all this tulle that I could throw around. And so I was like, let's make that part of it. Like, if you're on stage, like just make it a show. And you watch these videos back, and there's Pauline, like the head judge, just clapping, and it's like, oh
look, I love it. I do. I really love it. But the guys, it looks like hip thrust.
Well, yeah.
The guys are like, I'm thinking to myself, like, who am I? Who the fuck am I? Like,
well,
fucking shut up, Steve.
But who's any of them?
But what I'm trying to say to you is, it's just a side I haven't seen in bodybuilding. Because women, firstly, have introduced something very good to the sport. I'm going to tell you that, right? Because all it used to be was guys up on stage looking like they're going to faint. But WBF with the boys, it kind of looks a little different. It doesn't seem as masculine, but
they've changed all of that now. So, and like, I'm no expert in the male side of it, but since they've, well, not rebranded, but created this new federation, FMG, is that it's more geared towards the men, because like they're now no longer male models, because that made them, the men didn't like that. They wanted to be these muscle guys, and there's no evening wear around for them. So it's making it more. I think the WBFF as the brand was more about the Instagram and the showboat and
it was hard.
And who you are.
I check out guys and I check out girls. And that also is a problem with partners, because I'm actually checking symmetry.
But it's an appreciation.
Yeah, it's always an appreciation. Always.
But I'm
just thinking when I see the guys up there in WBFF, I get it, but I'm like...
I just think do it, because I think like if the fact that you're scared about doing something, it means you should do it. It's something for you to work through.
I do think about that. Yeah. I do think about it. There's a few things I need to fix in relation to... No, I'm saying to you that for some reason I got like... fat storage, you know, like little lumps of, maybe this is getting old, but someone told me, there's a name for it, it starts with glutes, I don't know what it's called, but there's like a little kind of spot on my quad.
Well, I mean, you get
and it's a lump, and you think, oh my God, what's that lump? But when they checked it out, it's actually a fat deposit, and it just sits there, and you go, like, I've got to get that cut out. So there's things
you get a coach, though, and you talk to your coach about that sort of stuff and go, okay, here's what I don't like, here's that. They come up with a plan, they're the experts.
They are, but I find it hard, let alone listening to myself, let alone I think I'm going to listen to a coach. But I get it. No, I get it. I'm with you on that. It's just, I don't know yet. I think I just love the sport. It's not about stage to me. I love watching it. Look, I've got a podcast about it, talking about all those pics during that time, the crypto house, the cozy bikini shots, poolside, the following, dressing up in a green field, like flowing white dress, like, and it was liked by JFit and Athin is shooting. How was that? How did that make you feel?
It's so empowering, and I think photo shoots are this empowering thing, and more people should do them. Just because, it's great to have these photos to capture this time. I would love to do more photo shoots, but they are expensive.
They are. Who have you done them with? Just JFit?
So Jay Batro, who did the one in the field, that was a time for print, which I kind of pitched myself into this guy that was saying that he was going to sponsor, and he was like, reach out to these photographers for time for print. I did another shoot with this other photographer. I think one photo made it to the gram, but the rest were just like... it was just cheap and gross, and the photographer
was he like a guy that sat on the cliffs with the waves?
No, he was just a real creep, man. he was just a real creep, and afterwards he was like, I'll get us a hotel in the city and we'll shoot in the Meriton, and I was like, not a chance there, champion.
So how do you do it, Chris? Because we all want to be these, when we're talking to girls, we'll go, when you're young you lie, I guess you go, they go, what do you do for a living? You go, I'm a sports model photographer, or but Chris is really a photographer and a cinematographer, and a videographer and everyographer is a grapher. But how many times do girls say to you, like, yeah, right, mate, I'm not that type? Like when they ask you what's your career. Or do you tell them you're a bricklayer?
Probably.
But like a photographer's a professional industry. It's just
No, but when you're at a bar,
Oh.
I'm just telling you, this is on the guy's side. If I tell a girl if I say to a girl I'm a photographer, she'll go, you think that you're going to take photos of her on my phone? But yeah, what do you?
They probably go like, oh, cool, because everybody's a photographer.
Yeah, but they don't take it that seriously, do they?
Yeah.
Done.
So I mean, this one photographer.
Until they see like the work and they see that it's actually serious.
It's art, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, so there was only that one photographer that I had a crappy time with. Like, Bacho and Jay were all really professional in the shoots. But yeah, this one guy was just clearly a creep, and he was even in my DMs, like being like, "Oh, you look so much better in person," and like he was breathing heavy when he was taking the photos, and it was just like, ugh. Like,
you get on with it.
Thank God.
and I'd been warned of it, but I think be professional.
All right, so stop breathing heavy, Chris. You too, Steve. You too.
Were you talking about like talking to models or?
No. What I'm saying, no. Like, let's say I was in my early 20s, or I'm not saying I used that as any. No, I didn't. But sometimes you used to think when you went out, and you wanted to pick up girls. I guess it's it's just something you did when you're 20s, and it was something everyone did because everyone danced with each other. Like I mean, it wasn't guys dancing with guys. The dance floor was guys and girls dancing. Girls can dance with themselves. Guys could never. It was kind of that way because I come from a different era, right?
Different era.
So the hardest thing was going up to a girl and saying, "Would you like a dance? Or can I get you a drink?" So I don't know, try to make up some lie. They're saying, "Oh my God, just looking at your profile, I'm a photographer," and
Oh yeah, I never do that.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that was just pick-up lines. It wasn't like I was trying. All right, hot topic moment. Should men be stoic? Not show their emotions? Show off? I'm just reading it quickly. I'll just read because we kind of went over it before anyway.
I was thinking about this morning, but I'm thinking about this every day anyway.
What do you think about it? Should men be stoic?
100%.
Not show their emotions? Why, Chris? To bring Chris into the podcast.
Because stoic is not having emotions. It's about controlling your emotions.
Yes, that's right.
And when it comes to man and masculinity, we have to control our emotions because the pinnacle of an emotion for a man could be very, very serious, and it could end up with a murder or a rape or like look at the guys who are shooting up schools.
Mm-hmm.
They are doing that. That's the pinnacle of their sadness or depression or anger.
Mm-hmm.
They can't control it. Like women, on the other hand, the pinnacle of their emotion is crying. Like they can be angry, more angry, fuming, and they'll cry at you. But man will end up killing somebody.
I think women can too. There are women murderers, and there is like, but I do get what you're saying. Is that men? It's like, what's his name? Oh God, I can't believe I've forgotten his name. But he has this quote, and it's like, you should be a beast, but learn how to control it.
Oh, Joe Rogan.
Not Joe Rogan.
What he's saying is, there's a saying. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is a saying is, be savage in a garden, but don't be a gardener in a war. You got to find your moments. You got to know when you're needed. But I think what Chris is saying.
And just this morning, I was talking to myself, and I was grateful that I didn't become stoic. I was born stoic.
Yes, of course.
It was innate in me, my DNA. And I just said to myself this morning, I'm so lucky to be stoic because I'll probably be in jail by now, knowing myself.
Wow, Jesus Christ! All right, Chris.
But it's that honesty again. It's being honest and knowing that, like, when you can sit there and admit that to yourself and go, okay, well, I know where my line is. I know where the control is. And
no, I exactly know what he means. I think me and Chris, we talk a lot about many things. I mean, No, because we're...
No, sorry, I laugh because podcast.
No,
Obviously, you talk.
No, but the thing is, he's 23, I'm 55, and he's 24 this year too. So I think we talk a lot about emotions. We talk about... I think he's the only guy that we can actually... He can say something like that and alarms don't go off like, "Are you okay, mate?" I think what I'm trying to say is... who was it? Who was the most stoic person? Marcus Aurelius? Was it Marcus Aurelius spoke about stoicism?
He wasn't really the most stoic person, but he's one of them. Yeah.
One of them. What I'm saying is he could see war in front of him, but his emotions needed to be intact. Though he could see the killing, could see everything going on, it was all a fight inside him. He had people around him that he needed to control to be able to not lose himself over what he was seeing. And that, I think that's what we call a stoic man. He's feeling the emotions. He's just trying to keep the room calm for the people around him.
The greatest strength is to be able to remain calm in times of crisis and stress. And I do think that men should be stoic. I think women should be stoic too.
Yep.
Because women, if we're just ruled by our emotions, we're just going to cry all the time. And or not even necessarily cry, but, we have anger and everything. But you do see the difference between us. So I've got nieces and nephews and they're twins, boy and a girl. And they're 8 and you can see their responses. His response is anger at 8 and hers is tears. And it's just the way I think genetically we are. But I think... As I said, is that I think that men should be stoic, but I think they should also they should allow space for softness and for feeling the emotions and for working through that, and having a space to talk. And
well, writing your podcast yesterday, I didn't cry, but I was very emotional listening to your music and the way you're playing things, and like the bit where you're on the train and the reflection of you, and then I saved the photos because I want to talk about them. But we do want to let go. We do want to cry. You'd be surprised, but I'm telling you, it sounds weird. It just doesn't pay. I know. I'm not saying it doesn't pay. We want it. Like, my son can cry as much as he likes. But we have to get past that point because we know we can't stay in there. It's just something that hits us.
That's a human thing. That's such a human thing. It's like you have to cry, and it comes back to my drinking and the addictions and that. I spent so long trying to avoid those emotions, and they bottled up and they came out and they were my demise. And I love it because I needed the collapse. I needed the crumble to rebuild. But like... when I was going through that big healing, I was like, we have to allow ourselves to feel all of the emotions. And that's just not men, that's women too. It's like, because it's part of the human experience. It's the spectrum, right? And to deny yourself of happiness or sadness or joy or anger or experiencing any of that, you deny yourself of the experience of being human. So I think when you take it away when you take away the gender roles from it and you look at it just from the human perspective, you go, well, we all need to feel it. Yeah. And you need to feel it to heal it and to repair through it. But there's a time and place, for you to suck it up and go, all right, well...
Everybody feels it. Even a stoic person feels it. The only difference is being a stoic, you control it. And then we go, well, this happened. Will it help the situation if I cry and show emotions? Or I should just stay calm and work and solve the problem?
Yeah. Control your response to it.
Yeah. So that's the story is,
Yeah.
So, look at that for Chris, eh?
That was my dress that I wore on stage.
I know. See if the camera's going to show it up. It's okay. Tell me, do you remember what you wrote there? Do you kind of remember what you wrote?
Yeah, I do.
It. Tell me what you wrote.
So... after I started just posting online and everything, I had numerous people kind of telling me, one, that I'd changed and that I thought that I was better than them because, I had made this change. And, I I think everybody needs to have this confidence in themselves to go, well, actually, I'm better than what I was. And, you know, that, as I think I said in that, is the one thing I know about myself is that I am grounded. I know where I was 2 years ago in an apartment on my own, drinking and crying and feeling sad. And I know what it was like to look out and project my own feelings onto somebody else to go, well, actually, like, because I would have looked at that and gone, oh, God, not that, like, I thought I was better, but going, like, it would trigger this instant.
Bad bitches to the left. Money bitches to the right.
Why this song?
Because I felt like a bad bitch.
Okay, so keep going.
Yeah, like I know what it's like to be insecure and to allow somebody else's joy trigger me and go, well, why me? Like, poor me. It's like, it's a big thing. So.
Yeah, Chris comes doing all right, eh?
Yeah.
Wonderful, beautiful.
And I think
I'm so proud of you, by the way.
Thank you.
I really am.
Thank you. I'm really proud of me too.
I'm really proud of you. This is the do dumb shit with Nikki. Oh God, you're funny. But yeah, go on.
And I think it was empowering me. Like, I use a lot of my Instagram just to empower myself and to go, all right, come back. But it's to empower other people, because I think we're all told that we should play it small. And we're told that we shouldn't be proud of ourselves, and we shouldn't, you know, be able to sing out loud and go, hey, like, I am the shit. And it's like, well, you can think that you're the shit. You can carry yourself like the shit, but don't be an asshole about it.
100%.
Like, it's not that hard to not be a dick. And yeah.
I think, you know, I like real. I like even when people rub me up the wrong way, but that's them. And I think to myself, it's about, they're not trying to win me over. I want to be won over because I like you. I like who you are. I actually like to understand that sometimes the ego isn't real, but there's an ego in all of us that we portray. Like, so many people think I'm head of a rock band for some reason.
You do give that vibe, yeah.
I know. I do
it's the mullet and the mustache.
I know, but I don't even. I mean, I've never been the lead singer of a rock band, but I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
But
I think the ego's necessary. And when I was going through drugs, I was really big into hallucinogenics, right? And like, I'd heard so much about ego death and that, but I think the ego's so necessary. Is like, the ego's what's going to get you up to go, okay, I can do this hard thing. But it's like, when you get egotistical, and that you do become, because like we've all done it, right? And that was for me online. Like, I've sort of pulled back a bit because I was like, oh, hold on, like, it's easy to get caught up in this and get carried away with it and lose yourself in it.
Yep.
And that to me is when you get egotistical, is you lose this sense of self. But your ego's so important.
100%. All right. With another post. Oh, too loud?
Under 6 seconds for YouTube copyright.
Oh, is that all right? Did I get it off?
I'll
quick
cut
enough?
it later.
You'll cut it later. All right. Sorry. She called you producer.
I am.
Yeah.
Look, don't make it that high, all right? Because we're just keeping you here. Like, I treat him mean, keep him keen, all right? Jesus, you know, he's got like 50% of the business. That's enough. Don't give him any more. So tell me about. This may be a bit sad, but tell me about that.
Yeah, so I was walking up to work.
Nice
and
photo, eh? Reflection off the train. Probably going through the tunnel in the
No,
city.
it was like 4 a.m.
There it is, 4 a.m.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Yep.
so
you go and tell me about that.
Yeah, I was walking up to work and I saw this guy. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I saw a man just sitting. He had this bottle of like juice and he was smoking a cigarette. He looked like pretty homeless, right? And my first assumption was, oh, there's got to be vodka in it. And then like I checked myself on it and I was like, well, actually the difference between him and me was that like I just hid mine better. Like he's on the street, right? And he's drinking and he's suffering and it's public. Whereas for me, I was drinking alone and I was drinking, like nobody around me actually knew that was happening. Like, you know, when I've spoke to my friends and family, they're like, I didn't know it was so bad, but it's why it's so dangerous. You can hide it so well and you can function. And Yeah, and I checked myself and I was like, the only difference between me and him was that I held a job. I wasn't on the street. I mean, there were nights that I was out with friends and we were drinking on the streets and everything. But I think I said in that, I drank in joy, I drank in sadness, I drank in fear, I drank in love, I drank in heartbreak, I drank in celebration. I drank everything because that's part of the drinking culture that we have is that, we celebrate and all
commiserate.
of that. And we commiserate.
That's why I stopped drinking on celebrations and I've stopped drinking commiserating. I just need to feel the emotions. I've realised the alcohol was suppressing even joy. It was suppressing sadness too.
It's like you get to a point that and I think it happens a lot naturally as you get older, but I do see people that, are still in their 60s and 70s and that's all that they're doing is just drinking. And when I quit drinking, going 18 months out of the span from when I first started drinking from 14, well, probably really 16, 17 going to house parties, there would have really only been a week in that I was sober or that I wasn't drinking. Because it's weekends, you go to the pub, you do this, you do that, there's a celebration, there's a wedding, there's a funeral, there's whatever it is. And when you look at it like that and you go, okay, well, how much of this is going to take up our life?
Well...
And we get one as far as we know.
No, I know. So you have a niece and two nephews, and you want to be a good role model now.
Yeah.
Mindset, resilience, mental health, sobriety, important topics, to have a crack, showing people what you can do. Why you? Why care?
Why care?
Why, when God, the universe, seemingly can give us still short straws?
Because it's about the overcoming.
Yeah.
And we all love that story. We love the underdog. We love the person who, was stacked against him. And granted, I stacked it against myself because I chose to drink. But I just want to show people that, you can just go and do shit. You the only thing that holds you back is you. And, I want to show my niece and nephew as well is that, it's no matter how many times that you fail or no matter how far behind you think you are, you just keep going and, you're where you're meant to be. Yesterday, my 8-year-old niece, I was trying to teach her how to cartwheel and she cried and she was like, I hate myself. And I was like, why are you saying you hate yourself? She was like, because I can't get it right. I'm not good. And I was like, but the importance is that you try.
Yeah. I
was like, nobody's good at anything if they don't try. And, my mum and I was sitting there talking to her and being like, mum's like, I didn't know how to do my job. And I was like, I had no clue what I was doing. And we spoke about what we just spoke about before is, even as a parent, you don't have a clue what you're doing. You try and you figure out what works. And, then she kept trying. She then set herself these little goals where she was like, I want to do 100 cartwheels, and by the time that I get to 100, I want to do a full cartwheel, not just a bunny hop. And I was like, isn't that amazing that, she can go from this, I hate myself, which I think is heartbreaking that an 8-year-old can say that, to then setting this goal and going, okay, well, how can I improve? And I said to her, I'm so proud of you for that because that's all you got to do.
It is amazing.
And it's things like that because I think so many of us, as I said before, is, we want to take this easy way out. We want this comfortable being like, oh, if I can't do it, well, why bother try? Or we get so complacent in everything. And it's like, well, actually, no, if you just don't quit. Unless it's drinking and you have a problem.
No. There's things about making oneself better not to quit, not make oneself worse. Yeah. Where we have to quit.
Well, yeah, and I think I have this fear in myself, and I think, as I said, we all just seem to forget that we're dying.
So, do you have this? Have you sorted out this imposter syndrome?
Yes.
And do you have an alter ego to help you through this?
Not really one that I named, but a lot through prep is I was just you're a bad bitch.
Okay, you're a bad bitch.
I remember I said to Maheen very early on, I was like, I just want to go out there and be that bitch. And it became this thing that it's well, if I want to be her, then I have to live as her, and everything that I do has to be there to create that. And
I have what's called Harry. Harry, given him a name.
Mm-hmm.
Chris has James. James. We seem to have given ourselves names, but yeah, tell me, the imposter syndrome. We're dealing with that.
Yeah, I just have imposter. Well, I think we all have imposter syndrome, but like, you know, when I was going on the stage, I had imposter syndrome because, like, you know, started connecting with other people. There's a girl that a woman that lost like 60 kilos. There's another lady who won. I think she lost like 45, and I was seeing these big numbers, and at that point, I think I was only at like 15, 20.
So it's not just what I think it is.
So this is the transformation category. So the transformation.
So there's a transformation category.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so the WBFF and FMG are the only category that I think have it. So
Wow.
there's this transformation category where it's designed so that, like, if you're not quite ready to go into the big leagues, or if you've got a story where you're overcoming, and traditionally you do see people with these large weight loss numbers, you know, who've just given it this red hot crack.
I love that.
It's beautiful, and
I did not know that.
Yeah, you get on stage and you get to tell your story, and you get 3 photos that sort of show your
Do
story.
they do that for the males too?
So it's just one. So there's only one overall winner, and the men and the women are all in the same category.
But it's got
yeah, you can be a male and do it
in that category.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like the lady
Good
that
on
won it.
you. Good on you guys. I love that.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Jesus,
And
I take back everything I said about him.
no, and I think so. Well, a lot of people don't know about it.
I don't know about it. No one talks about it.
Yeah. So
What's it called again? What's the category called?
transformation category.
Go the transformation category. I love that.
Yeah, so I had imposter syndrome because I was seeing these big numbers, and I was like, who am I, like, to get up there with, like, you know, what's going to be diddly squat compared to them. But it's judged on the whole story, not just like whoever's lost the most weight. But yeah, then I was just, as I started talking about this sobriety and the depression and the mental health, I was like, actually, that's my why. Is like,
did they mention that while you're up there?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think something that I wrote is like I wanted to show that sobriety wasn't boring. It could be a little bit sexy.
Wow, it was,
Like,
it was sexy.
not-
No, you did well.
So yeah, I found my why in that, and I was like, you know, I had this imposter syndrome, like, who am I when I haven't lost this much weight? And then I was like, actually, you know, it's because, you know, this addiction and mental health is like, we all look at it as this, as the guy on the bench. That's how we think about when you think about an alcoholic or someone who's lost everything. But it's actually like, no, it's your neighbor, it's your uncle, it's your boss, it's your friend. It's like, and we're not looking out for this. And so, yeah, I just think the more that I talk about it, the more awareness I can bring to that.
Yeah, I love it. Well, first, thank you. And also, wow, that category.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Transformation.
I have to ask a million times.
And as I said, I think FMG, well, the now FMG, is the only federation that actually has it.
Federation makeover.
I hope they bring it on still. Yeah, that's great.
It'll
Good
be
on.
the show in Sydney.
Good. I'm very, very, very pleased to hear that. Trust me, I'm very pleased. Hot topic time before we go over the body. 2 quotes. Huh? Hot topic. One's 2 quotes. One's yours. One's mine.
Okay.
You don't jump when you're ready. You jump when your legs are shaking. That's yours.
Mm-hmm.
Mine. Which, that's why you call me Picasso. Past means strength. Going forward means stronger. Tell me about those. What do you think?
Oh, I think that, yeah, your past is where you find your strength, but it's where you're going that will make you stronger.
Exactly. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. I made that up at the time, you know.
Oh, no, I loved it. I loved it. And it's like
That's when I said, fuck, Steve. Wow.
Yeah.
What was it again?
It's your past. Sorry. Past means strength. Going forward means stronger. Yeah.
And I think with my quote, it's just that whole thing that, like, if you wait for it until you're ready to do things, you would just be waiting your whole life.
Yeah.
So do it when you're scared, do it when you're broke, do it when you're alone.
I'm still trying to learn that.
You just gotta, like, and I think that's something that I've learned so much. Don't think, do. Just do it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So,
Are you fat up or fed up? Tired of boring food? We just cooked this from our What Should I Eat cookbook. It's also on an ebook, making it more affordable for you. So,
Get your copy at threeog.shop.
on that note, let's go over the body. You ready? You're going to be a personal trainer now.
All right. I don't think I make a good one.
Exercise sets and reps.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the body part. You're going to tell me if you train it, you don't train it, just say don't train it.
Okay.
Which I'm assuming the first one. And if you did, how would you train it? Traps?
Traps. I don't think I train traps specifically. They overload everything.
All right. Well, you sound like a trainer. Delts.
Delts.
All right, side delts. What do you do for side delts?
Do a lot of like shoulder raises.
How many sets and reps?
I think I do 10, 10, 5, 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
10, 10, 5, 5, which is 4 sets.
Yeah.
What about rear delts?
Rear delts is cable flies.
Cable flies? How many there?
Same. I think it's like 10, 10, 5, 20.
All right.
Yeah.
I want to hear each one because we chop it up sometimes. Front delts?
Front delts, just front shoulder raises.
Yeah. Sets reps? 5, 5, 10, 10, 10, 10.
I think it's 10, 10, 10, 10. 4 sets of 10.
All right. Okay. What about back?
Back, seated row.
Yeah. How many?
Close grip. 4 sets of 10.
4 sets and nice. Chest?
Chest, don't train chest.
Abs?
Abs. Got a minute of planks, dead bugs.
Yeah, a minute of those, yeah.
And crunches. So I do 3 sets of each. So a minute hold, plank.
And the crunches? How many?
Crunches, 10.
10. 3 times. Bicep?
Bicep, just bicep curls. I do them on the cable.
Sets and reps?
4 of 10.
4 of 10. Tricep?
Triceps is... Tricep push downs.
Yeah, sets and reps?
4 sets of 10.
Forearms?
Forearms? No.
Don't do that. Okay. Quads?
Quads, leg extension.
Yeah,
So
that's right. You just kicked me.
4 sets of 20.
4 sets of 20.
That's my favourite exercise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hammies?
Lying leg curls.
Sets of reps?
4 sets of 10.
Okay. Glutes?
Glutes, a lot of thrusting.
Oh, nice.
I do barbell hip thrust, machine hip thrust.
How many sets reps?
Depends on the day. So, yeah, Monday and Wednesdays it's 4 sets of 10. And then a glute day, it's 4 sets of 10 twice.
Okay. Calves?
Calves don't train them.
Well, then you don't do tibialis.
No.
Okay, where can we find you?
On Instagram.
What's your call sign?
Nikki Stocken, just my name.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well...
Otherwise, I'm floating around Picton.
Around Picton?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the girl around Picton. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been amazing. It's been, a favourite, let me tell you. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Steve.
My pleasure.
What a pleasure.